Hello, Scorpio. Beautiful Scorpions. Welcome to 2019. I hope that the start of your year has been beautiful and passionate, just like you. I am Taryn, and this is the Luminary Tarot. So this is my new channel. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm just going to start out with a general energy for the new year and see what is going on with my Scorpios. I am a Scorpio cusp, so sometimes I don't really know if I want to sting around people, but I usually do feel quite deeply into Scorpio energy. So let's just see what's happening for this year. What are we leaving behind? What are we moving toward? What is going on? I'm really feeling for Scorpio that you guys are in a bit of a purification process, so really taking stock of how you've been showing up in the world and how you have been, treating your body, treating yourself, and starting to just lay some new groundwork. Maybe thinking about a new eating plan, a new way of like getting up in the morning, a new way of actually just taking time for yourself and taking time to start to move toward what it is that you want. So it's really, really beautiful, and it is a process. And I mean, Scorpio is the sign of reinvention, the sign of always being able to die to the old way. So really, really cool energy to move into in 2019. I think we have 2 more shuffles to go before we start out here. And yeah, also just really allowing yourself to sit in a little bit more of a feminine energy, so that nice, watery, receiving kind of vibe that is Scorpio's comfortable place, but allowing yourself to actually be there is to start to move into a little bit more of, it's still at the bottom of the deck, the sacral chakra, and start to move into a little bit more of a powerful space for yourself. So we're going to start out with messages from your guides, messages from the powers that love you unconditionally and that are there to serve you, and that is the shadow. Ooh. So as I was saying, it's really time to just purify and look at what is no longer serving you. So maybe looking at your habits, looking at how you're treating yourself, your body, your life, starting to set new routines in place so that you're living in a little bit more of a conscious space and really moving from a place of knowing that you are taking the best care of yourself possible. Right? And that's just the beginning of that's a really, really nice way to start the new year, by just taking a bit of a deeper look and seeing what is actually not really working for me last year. Maybe I should leave that behind or just try something new for this year. Again, reinvent yourself. If it needs to go, it needs to go. That's all. And so now, seeing where we can start to move, what are we moving away from in 2018? What is the energy that we're leaving behind, so that we can start to focus a bit more on the shadow, focus a bit more on ourselves and the truth of what's actually going on. Moving away from suffering in silence, moving away from always being the martyr, always being the one who's kind of left out in the cold, left behind, and letting that cycle end, that cycle of, I just sometimes with Scorpios, I just feel the sense of being left to the last, never really taking what you want for yourself, but just taking the leftovers. So letting that suffering in silence and letting that sense of not feeling worthy to speak up when you are uncomfortable, and not feeling not feeling worthy actually is just very much coming through. Letting that sense go, that is not serving. It's not serving you. It's not serving anyone that you're around, because you are so much more powerful when you are speaking your truth and when you are standing in your truth. And this is also very much about saying what you feel and not allowing yourself to be bulldozed over by other people or other energies, but really speaking and telling people how you feel and telling the ones around you and your loved ones, like if they're making you feel bad, you don't have to suffer through it. You don't have to be left to last. And look, it's interesting because this is an 18 and this is a 9, so half of that's half of your shadow. So this is the darkness that you have to examine. You have to look at it to be able to move into the light, right? You have to examine why you do that to yourself, why you let yourself always be, like not as important. And it's a difficult one to actually examine, but so necessary as we move into a new space, because you don't need that shit, right? So let's think about now how you start to attract your highest potential, how you start to move toward your highest good for this year, and where, balancing the relationships around you, balancing yourself, balancing the masculine and the feminine within inside of you as well, I think is a really big thing for Scorpio, because sometimes you can sit in this very deep feeling space, like you just have all these feelings and all of these emotions, and the action side sometimes lacks a little bit. So really finding that balance and duality of feeling into situations, but also doing something about it. So if you are uncomfortable, do something about it. Don't just sit there and feel sorry for yourself. It's not the best way to proceed if you're not being honest with what you actually need. And your highest potential is always sitting in balance, because that's when Scorpios are powerhouses. When they're so in touch with the feeling, because not a whole lot of people are in touch with the feelings like Scorpios are. Let me just say that much. And that is a real gift, to be in touch with your feelings. But you also have to be able to balance it out with your actions, right? So I think that's a really, really interesting thing as we start to move toward the highest potential for ourselves, which is what we want this year. And let's see where we can start to focus our energy, and what we focus our energy toward as we move through as well. This card has come up so many times for other signs as well, and I think it is really important, the waiting game. So knowing that there is a season for everything, knowing that there is a time to live, there's a time to die, there's a time to grow, and there's a time to just retreat. Scorpios are usually really, really good with that as well, but also just when it comes to this balance, knowing when it's time to take time away, time for yourself, knowing when it's time to step forward. So that also comes with your balancing act as well, because it's also just it's a scale of duality. So once this empties, this fills, and vice versa. And so this is going to be a really important lesson as you start to focus your energy toward the things that are going to grow into the best and most prosperous kinds of ventures, projects, relationships, knowing that, again, it doesn't just have to, not just because you want it to be, you make something happen. You wait for the thing that feels right for you, and you will know when it feels right, because you feel so much. So yeah, the waiting game. Now just wanting to move into a theme for the year. So what you have to focus on and what you should start to learn from this year, what you're going to learn from this year, and what the lesson is going to be coming up again and again for you. The theme for your year is patience and planning. Yeah, so a lot of waiting here, but waiting in a joyful way, and waiting in a way where you are still moving toward, and you are building something that you feel so set and so steady in. And so yeah, maybe it's not going to happen all at once, and it's not going to be an overnight success, but the way that you're planning and the way that you are strategically moving forward, making, even if it's small steps toward a goal, it's still steps towards something, and it still is a really, really effective way of moving toward what you want. So patience and planning, and again, look at these two pillars, so duality and balance. It's really, really important. So here we are with the 11, and here we are with the two poles. It's all about balancing, and especially when it comes to your work, when it comes to your finances, finding some stability and finding some good, solid planning stages. Some maybe investing or saving, or whatever it is that resonates for you in that realm. That's where you really need to start to focus your attention, instead of just being like, well, it needs to all happen. Like, I need to win the lottery. Yeah. Not the most effective way to get what you want, let me tell you that much. So future opportunities and energies that you should start to move toward, and things that you want to start to attract and bring in this next year, and that you're going to bring in this next year. Speaking your truth. The throat chakra. So what was I saying is, again, with this suffering in silence. So this is all about not speaking up and not standing up for yourself. Sorry, I'm on a farm and there are just all kinds of critters around, so I may just tweak at a few moments. But yeah, knowing when you need to actually speak up. Not just sitting in the sidelines and taking it, not just allowing people to steamroll over you, but speaking up when you feel it, when you actually, when you want change. Like, if you want something to change, you have to change it. You have to speak about it. You have to let it be known. You can't just be like, oh, I hope it changes. No, it doesn't work that way, my love. You have to learn to use your voice this year. And this is all about standing in your authenticity and your power. And I know, again, when you speak up, maybe sometimes you feel like you're not, what is the word? Maybe not as tactful as you think you should be, but that's okay. Because you know what? You still need to tell people how you feel. Because that's the only way that other people are going to understand. People don't feel as deeply as you, so then they can't meet you at that feeling space, and that's sometimes a little bit difficult for a Scorpio, because it's like, why don't you feel what I feel? It's because you haven't told people what you feel, and unless you tell people, they're actually not going to know. So make sure that you are speaking up, that you are standing in your truth, and then if something is not sitting right with you, you talk about it and you tell someone about it. Oof. Oh, Scorpio. I love this energy. Okay, sorry. So the obstacles, the obstacles that you may encounter in this little journey especially, and something to help you move forward, is that sacrifice, that seeing things from a different point of view, seeing that people don't feel the way you feel. Not everyone feels and experiences this life like you do, because most people are very in their heads and in their thoughts, and are controlled by that. And you are not as much. You are controlled by your heart more so than anyone else. So seeing things from a different perspective, and being able to see that within yourself and within your relationships as well, not expecting other people to respond to you the way that you would respond, because that's when you kind of start to get hurt, because you're expecting so much from people to, meet you on this really high level of, emotional exchange, and then a person's just completely emotionally immature, and you're like, well, what the heck? You gotta speak about it. You gotta see things from a different angle this year, my love. You gotta understand that not everyone lives life the same way, but you can still have a beautiful life. And the sacrifice to make, with this speaking your truth as well, is sometimes the tact, or the saying what you should be saying, or what you think you're supposed to say. That, sometimes you just need to say it, because that's how you feel. Say it, right? And it's gonna be an interesting little journey, and I really, really wish you all the best. So let's see how you can start to foster healthier and more loving relationships as you move forward. Because again, like if you are in relationships with people who just cannot meet you at your level, it's not going to feel great. So let's see how we can start to actually bring those people in and attract a little bit more of that juicy love that Scorpio knows and loves. Standing in your power, authority. Take authority, take charge, take control. Speak your truth. You have to be honest. You have to speak your truth. You have to tell people what you want. You have to tell people what you need, what your emotions require, and what you require. Like tell people, tell the like your person, tell your family, tell your colleagues. Make sure that people understand who you are and know what it is that you are feeling. Don't just allow yourself to be completely left to last. You have to take charge if you're going to stand in your true, like, amazing, watery, regenerative phoenix energy. Yeah? And that's, I think, there's no more perfect card for that. And it really does just come with being able to take a step back and plan for yourself. Oh my goodness, we're already at 16 minutes. Okay, last message for you. Just a parting message before I have to say bye-bye for now. This is just something I want to leave you with, just a thought for your new year as we move forward into this 2019 energy, and that is moving on. Yeah, couldn't be more perfect. Moving on from that which doesn't serve you, moving on from the relationships that don't make you feel good, moving on from the people that you're like, well, why am I carrying all of this stuff for you? Why am I just, like, I'm being everything for you and you're not really adding that much for me. It's time to move on from that. It's time to move away from the darkness, move away from like the deep emotional Scorpio waters, this like those deep pools of emotion, and move toward the light, move toward new growth, new prosperity, new lighter relationships, like more loving and open-hearted people and environments and communities. Finding your community, finding your tribe is also going to be a really big thing for you this year, Scorpio, and I really wish you all the best as you move into this new light and this new journey. It's absolutely beautiful energy. Remember to just stand up for yourself, stand in your power, and be everything that you know you are. Lots of love. I will be back in 2 weeks with another spread. Thank you so much for watching this video. I am the Luminary. Please like, please comment, please subscribe. This is a new channel, so this is all about, if it resonates for you, please, I'm really glad, and if it doesn't, just catch and release. All good. Until next time, I love, lots of love, peace, and namaste.